The crime plan has been published today for North Yorkshire, and as the Crime Commissioner for North Yorkshire, it's very much a document that kind of sets your stall out for your sort of plan of intentions for North Yorkshire. How did you put the plan together? What was the process?
So we consulted with the public, so we hit the road and covered quite a lot of the geography of the region to ensure we got the right balance between the coastal communities, rural areas, the cities, the towns, the villages, and also within that making sure that we reach some of the harder to reach groups that often don't take part in these consultations, so younger people, ethnic minority groups, the gypsy and traveller community, just trying to make sure that we get the right balance of input, because ultimately this is the statutory document that we can use to hold the police to account over the next 4 years. So it's about, for me, striking a balance between making sure that we focus on the right serious crimes that people are rightly concerned about, but also get that balance with visible policing that people were also really clear that they wanted to see, more police out on our streets. We've already had £1.9 million worth of additional government investment just for neighbourhood policing, and those ads for those PCSOs and police constables just to work in the neighbourhood teams are live at the moment, and that's really, really great to see that change already happening in our region. So
when you say it's a document to hold the police to account, then we've just heard from the Chief Constable. I know they've been involved with the plan kind of for most of the process. What do they then do now? Is it handing it over to them, or is this a monitoring document?
It's a monitoring document. They are still absolutely in charge of operational policing day to day. If a crime happens, it is them that will be responding. My job is to hold them to account around those priorities, just to make sure that those priorities are not being forgotten and are being sufficiently prioritised, but also around things like response times, making sure that the public are getting the kind of public service that they expect from their police service. And that is my job, which I do both through regular meetings with the force, but also in public meetings where the public can also participate.
And something that's come up a few times with yourself, the Chief Constable and the Mayor is the importance of preventative policing to avoiding the crimes before they happen. And that in some ways hasn't been talked about enough of recent times, so it's very refreshing to hear it being spoken about. What does that mean then? Because there's big issues. People talk a lot about knife crime, and I know that varies very much between areas. And North Yorkshire is seen as a sort of a very sort of safe environment. But what does that mean then? Is that specific actions that the police force will have to take forward then, if you like, to engage more preventatively? So
we already commissioned some services around early intervention and prevention through the commissioning team within my office as the Deputy Mayor for Police, Fire and Crime. But that delivery of early intervention is really just about trying to think about how we try and prevent young people or people on the edge of the criminal justice system being sucked into the criminal justice system, and actually try and make sure that we're diverting people away from crime and antisocial behaviour and into more productive activities. So working collaboratively with youth services, for example, which have been decimated over the last 15 years, but also with people like the court system, and making sure that we've got proper community sentencing options so that people who've got drug and alcohol problems can get the support that they need, which will then prevent them committing crime further down the line. And at the moment, some of those services are not as strong as they need to be. Those aren't things that we will do on our own. Those are things that we need to do working with health partners, with local authorities, with the police and criminal justice system partners, all of those people together, but focused on those bigger priorities and getting past the kind of sticking plaster politics of dealing with just the problems after they've happened and trying to get ahead of things and trying to deal with the causes of things, stop things happening in the first place.